I've gotten better at it. There are definitely spells that I have this season that are rad as hell. But Moggy the doggy, and it's a really good spell, by the way. It's really good, but was mostly because wouldn't it be fun to have a little dog?
We are back in Spire, but not where I expected to pick up at all. We're the final stretch of the Night York quest. Was that, did you guys expect that to happen? Or was that a surprise to you going in that the majority of that quest happened between seasons?
No, that was something that we had discussed. That was the first thing that we had discussed, immediately after sophomore year. That was always the idea. The problem that took us a while was, okay, but what happens after that? What do we do next? And that's part of why it took so long. And Brennan's been wanting to start a season in media res for a while, which we kind of did with Starstruck a little bit, but that's really, that was such a little goober moment. But this one really, we wanted to go full out and have full characters that we'd never met that we brought along on this quest, and really play it as if there was a hidden missing 6-episode arc that you never got to see that maybe will be released as a short story. It never will. Somebody will write it in Archive of Our Own and it'll be beautiful.
You're like, let me clarify really quick.
Yes. To be clear, we're not doing that. That seems like really hard work, but I'm sure some fan will make an absolutely stunningly beautiful version of it that will make everybody cry.
Well, I hope so. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you guys figured out what your characters have been through on this arc? Because they all feel very different from when we saw them at the end of sophomore year.
Part of the nice thing about having that sort of skip quest is that we could move our characters along a little bit further outside of the public eye. And that for us then as actors and improvisers meant that we could go into it with these are the old characters, but also there's something a little bit new to work with here. We don't have to see all of the legwork of that. And I don't know. I think that we're all of us very anxious to always be doing something new. Whether that's something that, characters that we've explored before or doing a completely new season. And the novelty of it, I think, is what makes it so fun at the table. And so, and I think that also at this age, they're 16-year-old kids, you do change so much every 6 months, and you can change so much every 6 months, and you can have that oh, you thought I was prep? I'm an emo now, and it's completely a different thing, and you don't understand me, and you didn't understand me before, and you don't understand me now, and it's all very serious and very real. And then in 6 months, you're doing something completely different, and you're doing a play, and suddenly you're only wearing black. It is the time in your life where I feel like you're experimenting the most and changing yourself the most and trying on so many different hats, because you're adulthood is coming and I have to decide which one of these I want to be as quickly as possible. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Does that rambling stuff answer what you were asking?
Yes, for sure. And then I have to ask, what inspired the new animals like Moggy the doggy?
Mostly it was the spell. I leveled up and I got that spell and I was like, I can have a dog. I want a dog. I want a round dog that fits in with my round animal aesthetic that I seem to be building. I feel like I should, every time I pick spells, pick the ones that are going to be the most useful, and I end up just going with the ones that are most fun. I've gotten better at it. There are definitely spells that I have this season that are rad as hell. But Moggy the doggy, and it's a really good spell, by the way. It's really good, but was mostly because wouldn't it be fun to have a little dog? Let me make Rick Perry make me a tiny dog mini. I want to see it.
I love that when you immediately introduced them as Moggy the doggy, I'm like, that was the right choice. no matter what, that was the right choice.
Yeah.
And then can you talk to me a little bit about what you're excited to explore with Adine this season that you maybe haven't in the previous 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think that this is the first time Adine's had so many big life things. This is the first time that Adine actually kind of gets to go to school and actually take it seriously and explore who she is outside of her anxiety, outside of her stuff with her parents. Like it's her first sort of taste of stability. And I think that for people who come from very unstable childhoods, finding their first stability can be the most destabilizing thing. Because they're so used to the chaos that the monotony of everyday life can be very confusing. And sorry, that's my ice machine keeps going off. Why did I sit in my kitchen? Who knows? It was a choice, and here I am, and we're stuck with it. But yeah, that sort of aspect of what do you do when you've solved all your problems, but you still have to continue on with your life, was my sort of entry point to Adine this season.
Will we see her kind of relationship with her sister evolve a little bit this season?
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff with Alwin, who is going through her own similar, like, well, I guess I'm not a villain anymore. I guess I gotta get a job. It's a bit boring though, isn't it? And those sisters coming together and trying to figure that out together without these parents who were just giving them just the worst model of how to be a human or an elf, a person possible. So yeah, there's definitely some sweet Alwin Adine moments this season.
Obviously you can't say too much. Can you tease a little bit of maybe the quest we're going to see after the Night York? Because it sounds like we're going to be a little in Egg Fort a little more this season than we were in sophomore year.
Yes. We're definitely going to be in Egg Fort a lot more. We're going to see inside the classrooms for the first time. We're going to go to class with people and see what's happening there. It's the bad kids starting to suddenly have to take their future a little bit more seriously. They're in that stage of school where they're like, do I go to college? Do I get a job? Like, what am I going to do after this? What's my path? We kind of coasted the last 2 years because it was pretty easy, but now suddenly school is really hard and the world is still not fixed and we still got these quests to do. And so it's a lot about finding sort of work-life balance in this, which I think is very apropos of this stage in life of, again, you're trying on all of these hats. Sometimes you realize all of a sudden, oh, I don't have time. I'm so tired. I'm so burned out. And I want to do the play and do sport at the same time, but this is killing me. I'm going to die. And then you're inevitably going to disappoint people. So it feels more intimate, I think. It feels smaller, but at the same time, more relatable, I think. And we're still going on big quests to save various exciting things that I don't want to tell you anything about. But, you know, I mean, the bad kids are still gonna bad kid. We're still going to be running around doing adventures when we really should be doing our homework. But yeah, it's much more school focused than it has been in the past.
I'm very excited to play that out, but I have to circle back to something you said in that answer. You just described fighting a dragon and the Nightmare King as coasting.
Well, yeah, sure. But we had the time to fight a dragon and destroy the Nightmare King because we were doing well in school anyway, and so it was fine. So, like, you have the time to do these extracurriculars of taking down 2 semi-immortal beings. But when suddenly college recruiters are coming around and you're starting to think about, how do I get a scholarship? Like I've been really getting those B's because that's pretty easy. What do I have to do to pay my way through this next few years of schooling? And like start to actually think about what things cost. And
Wow.
Those things are sort of boring but very real, and they're right at that age when you start to suddenly figure that out of like, oh, life is expensive, I guess.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not fun.
It's not fun. It continues to not be fun.
No. We live in LA. It's never going to be fun.
Oh my God, it's so expensive here. It's so wild. It's so wild how expensive LA is. And look, I don't want to live like a tiny little monk in a tiny little cave. I did that in my 20s and it's sad. But you got to pay for that. I don't know. It's expensive.
I'm going to shift away from our existential dread for a second.
Great. Please do.
So how do you think you've evolved from the first season, both as a player and an improv actor, to now playing Adine? And how does that change your approach to the character?
I mean, definitely we've all gotten better at the game. Most of us had played very little 5e, and Ali had never played D&D before. And so just in terms of like that stuff, we're just all much better at it. Like I don't have to read every spell card for the first time when I'm sitting at the table. I mean, I read them before because I picked them, but like it feels like you're reading it for the first time because you're like, well, 3 weeks ago I picked those spells. What did I do? Mage hand. What does this,
Yeah.
And I know what advantage and disadvantage is now. Helpful, very helpful. And then in terms of the sort of improv side of it, I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest part of it is that we all know each other so well now that we're able to shorthand a lot of stuff. And I think the fun at the table has become, how do I surprise these 6 people that I know so well, that they know me so well? And then by proxy, the audience, who I feel like know us maybe better than we know ourselves. Because if we can keep on surprising ourselves, that's how we keep it fun and that's how we keep it fresh. So I think that was improv-wise like a big aim of mine this season, and all of us, of like, how can I make these idiots laugh?
I love it. Yeah, especially because everyone kind of had a very satisfying resolution at the end of sophomore year.
Yeah.
So pick up and have to not only bring a new arc to it, but kind of explain why it's important, I think it's an impressive feat you guys are going to be doing with 20 episodes.
I think that the nice thing is that I feel so confident and I trust the cast. Like I feel so confident in our cast, and I trust everybody so much that I feel like we could go in with absolutely no idea and it would still be good. Which we did not with this season. There's big ideas and there's incredible sets. The sets this season are so gorgeous and so fun. But the nice thing is that I don't know, I just feel very lucky to play with these people because I know that they have my back and I have theirs, and there's no duds. Unless I'm the dud. Oh my God, am I?
You're not.
Oh, wait.
And then very quickly before we wrap up, is there a character's arc other than your own that stands out to you this season without, spoiling anything?
It's Kristen's arc. It's Kristen's arc this season for me. We do some really dumb stuff this season. It's really fun. It was really fun to do. Some really silly things happen.
That's why I love Fantasy High. I don't go to Fantasy High to see the characters make the best decisions. I expect
they're children. They're idiot children who make big, bold, bad decisions very confidently.
Which is what we want from the bad kids.
That's what 15-year-olds do, and that's what they should do, and that's what they will continue to do. And anybody who is ever shocked that this new generation of teenagers is acting recklessly just doesn't, either was really boring as a teenager or doesn't remember what they were like, or maybe both. Because teenagers are idiots, and that's kind of what I love about them. It's delightful.
Can't wait for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today, Siobhan.
Thank you. It's always fun.
I love talking to you guys. And I knew this season was going to be great, and it is immediately out the bat.
Hell yeah. It's good to hear. That's good to hear, because I haven't seen it. I just was there. I don't remember.
That's fair. You guys filmed these a long time ago.
We do. And then it just happens. And then you're just in your adrenaline rush. And then you step away and go, what did I just say? I have no idea. Is it good? What did you talk about yesterday? I have no idea. Let me look at my notes. Oh, I didn't take any.